The rain hammered against the stained glass window like accusations from the grave, each drop a reminder of the funeral that had buried more than just our parents. I stood there, fists clenched around the bottle of whiskey I'd fetched from the kitchen, my heart pounding as Matthew's voice sliced through the humid air of the old brownstone. Yeah, can you believe it? Parents gone, and now my gay brother's playing maid service. The help, that's what he is, fetching drinks, cleaning up the mess. Pathetic, right? His laugh echoed, sharp and hollow, turning my invitation into a cage. I froze in the shadowed hallway, the bottle slipping from my numb fingers, shattering on the hardwood floor in a spray of amber shards that mirrored the fracture in my soul. The pieces glittered under the dim chandelier light, catching the eye of the family portrait on the wall, Mom and Dad smiling, oblivious, with Matthew and me as boys, arms slung around each other like we were unbreakable. But that was before the inheritance papers named me the keeper of this crumbling empire, before I called my estranged brother home out of some delusional sense of blood loyalty. Matthew didn't even turn when the glass exploded. He just kept talking, his voice dripping with that Ivy League polish he'd honed at Yale while I scraped by in community college. John? Oh, he's always been the sensitive one. Thinks he's doing me a favor by letting me crash here. As if I need his pity party. The words landed like punches, each one reopening wounds I'd thought time had scarred over. I backed away, silent as a ghost, my bare feet crunching over the wreckage, tasting salt on my lips from tears I hadn't realized were falling. That night, as thunder rattled the foundations of the house on West 78th Street, I lay in my childhood bed staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out my fractured life like a New York subway diagram gone wrong. The brownstone had been in the family since Grandpa built it in the 1920s, a relic of immigrant dreams turned into a money pit of leaky roofs and lawyer fees. Mom and Dad's accident, that slick Manhattan bridge in a freak storm, had left it to me, the responsible son, or so the will said. Matthew, the golden boy who'd bolted to the West Coast after law school, chasing Silicon Valley deals, hadn't spoken to me in years. Not since he found out I was gay. Not since the family Christmas when he'd muttered, "Don't make this weird, John," and vanished into the night. But grief makes fools of us. I texted him, "Parents gone. House is yours too. Come stay. We need to sort this." He'd shown up 2 days later, Armani suit rumpled from the red eye, hugging me like we were kids again. "Bro, this place is a time capsule. We can flip it, make a killing." His eyes had gleamed with that predatory spark, the one that said he saw dollar signs, not memories. I nodded, too raw to argue, and poured him a scotch. Now, as the clock ticked past 2 a.m., I wondered if I just handed him the knife to gut me with. Morning came gray and unforgiving, the kind of November drizzle that soaks through your coat and into your bones. I found Matthew in the kitchen, nursing coffee from Mom's chipped mug, scrolling his phone like nothing had happened. "Hey, man," he said, not looking up. "You okay? Heard a crash last night. Ghosts in this old heap." My throat tightened, the echo of his mockery replaying on loop. "Yeah. Just dropped something." I busied myself with eggs, the sizzle masking the tremor in my hands. He was here because I asked. I reminded myself. Blood is thicker than the bullshit he'd spewed. But as he rambled about real estate agents and maximizing ROI, I felt the distance yawn wider, a chasm lined with the unspoken. His discomfort with who I was my quiet ache for the brother I'd lost long before the crash. Work called me out into the wet streets, bartending at the Rusty Anchor, a dive in Hell's Kitchen where the regulars nursed wounds deeper than hangovers. The place smelled of stale beer and regret, neon signs flickering like faulty heartbeats. I slung drinks with mechanical precision, smiling through the fog of betrayal, when he walked in. Tall, with that effortless tousle of chestnut hair and eyes like smoked quartz, he slid onto a stool and ordered a gin and tonic with a voice that wrapped around me like fog off the Hudson. "Rough night?" he asked, clocking my red-rimmed eyes as I muddled the lime. I shrugged, sliding the glass over. "Family's a bitch." "You, always." His smile was crooked, disarming, the kind that said he'd seen his share of storms. "I'm Alex. Just moved from Brooklyn, chasing a ghost of a script that's probably DOA. A writer. Of course. In this city of dreamers, he was the one who made my pulse stutter. We talked until last call, words tumbling out like confessions. My parents' death, the house, the brother who'd become a stranger. He listened, really listened, his hand brushing mine when he passed a napkin scribbled with his number. "Call me, John." We could use a plot twist. That twist came faster than I expected. 2 nights later, I invited him over, Chinese takeout on the creaky dining table, the rain pattering like hesitant applause. Matthew was out networking, or so he claimed, leaving the brownstone to us. Alex's laugh filled the rooms like light, chasing shadows I'd forgotten were there. We ended up on the worn couch, his lips tasting of soy and possibility, hands mapping each other with the urgency of men who'd waited too long for this. "Your trouble," I murmured against his neck, heart racing as his fingers traced the tattoo on my ribs. A compass rose, inked after coming out, pointing me toward uncharted truths. "Only the good kind," he whispered back, pulling me closer. For the first time since the funeral, I felt anchored, not adrift in the grief-soaked current. But anchors drag when storms hit. Matthew stumbled in at midnight, Tyascu, reeking of bourbon and bad decisions. He froze in the foyer, eyes narrowing at the tangle of limbs on the couch. "What the fuck, John?" I disentangled, heat flooding my face, but Alex just sat up, calm as a lighthouse. "Hey, I'm Alex. Friend of John's." Matthew's laugh was bitter, laced with that same venom from the phone call. "Friend. Right." He stormed upstairs, slamming the door to the guest room, his room now, apparently like a punctuation mark on his disgust. The next morning, the house felt like a battlefield, tension thick as fog. I cornered him in the study, amid Dad's dusty law books. "What was that about?" "Alex is important." He leaned against the desk, arms crossed, that lawyer's smirk in place. "Important? To your little fantasy life? Look, John, I get it. You're living your truth or whatever. But this house, our legacy, we can't afford distractions. I talked to a buyer yesterday, 8 figures if we move fast." My stomach dropped. "We? You mean I sell? This was Mom and Dad's dream, Matt. Not some flip for your startup fund." His eyes hardened, the brother I remembered flickering out like a bad bulb. "Dreams don't pay bills, little bro. And let's be real, you're not exactly the visionary here. You're the bartender with a side of heartbreak. Let me handle this." For once, the word stung, echoing his midnight mockery. The help, was that all I was to him now? A placeholder until he could cash in. I walked out, slamming the door on my way to the subway, the city blurring through unshed tears. Alex met me at the bar that night, his presence a bomb. "Fuck him," he said, lacing our fingers under the counter. "You're more than his shadow, John." We dove deeper after that. Stolen afternoons in Central Park, where autumn leaves crunched underfoot like fragile promises. Nights in his tiny walk-up, bodies entwined, whispering futures that didn't include brownstones or betrayals. He read me scenes from his script, a queer love story set against the AIDS crisis, raw and unflinching. "It's about reclaiming what's yours," he said. "Ice fierce. No matter who tries to take it." But Matthew was relentless. He started renovations, hiring contractors to gut the kitchen without asking, plastering over the wallpaper Mom had hand-painted with wildflowers. Modernizing, he called it, but it felt like erasure. One evening, I came home to find him on the phone again, pacing the parlor. Yeah, John's out of his depth. Gay. Emotional, hell. He's even got some boyfriend now. Makes him easy to sideline. Once the deal closes, I'll cut him a check. Fair's fair. I didn't shatter glass this time. I waited until he hung up, then stepped into the light. Sideline me? That's the plan. Huh? Treat your help like a footnote. He startled, then recovered with that slick charm. Overheard again, John? This business. You're too attached. This place is killing you, literally, with the leaks and the ghosts. Attached? To what? Our family? Or the fact that you can't stand who I am? My voice cracked, years of resentment boiling over. You bailed when I needed you most. After the coming out, after Dad's homophobic rants that you just laughed off. And now, you're here for the payout, mocking me like I'm the punchline. His face twisted, anger, then something softer, regret. I didn't mean it like that. It's just hard. Okay, seeing you like this, so open about it, makes me question shit I buried years ago. The admission hung there, a crack in his armor. But before I could press, the door buzzer screamed, "Alex," with pizza and a bottle of red, oblivious to the minefield. Matthew eyed him like a rival, then muttered, "We'll talk later," and vanished upstairs. That later stretched into weeks of Cold War. Alex became my refuge, our romance blooming fierce and tender amid the chaos. We walked the High Line at dusk, his arm around my waist, the city lights winking like conspirators. "Marry me," he joked one night, half drunk on cheap Merlot, but his eyes were serious. "Or at least, let's run away to Portland. Start fresh." I laughed, but the seed took root. Yet duty chained me, the house, the memories, the brother who was both villain and victim in my story. Matthew ramped up the pressure. Emails from his realtor, blueprints for condos rising where family photos hung. "Sign here, John. For your own good." The breaking point came on a frigid December eve, snow dusting the stoops like powdered sugar on a bitter pill. I'd come home early from a double shift, bones aching, to find the study ransacked, Dad's will on the floor, pages torn, Matthew's laptop open to an email chain with a shady developer. Secure signature by force if needed. Leverage the brothers. Indiscretions. Betrayal hit like a freight train. I confronted him in the attic, amid boxes of Christmas ornaments and forgotten toys. "Force? Indiscretions? You're blackmailing me with my own life." He whirled, face pale. It's not, John. Listen. The developer's pushing. They know about you and that guy. Photos. Even. From some PI. If we don't sell, they leak it all. Ruin you. Ruining me? You've been doing that since we were kids. I shoved him, grief and fury exploding. He shoved back, and we tumbled, fists flying in a blur of brotherly rage, crashing into a trunk that spilled letters. Mom's, to me, confessing her own hidden loves. A woman in her youth, silenced by Dad's expectations. We froze, panting, blood trickling from my split lip. Matthew stared at the faded ink, then at me, something shattering in his eyes. She was like you. Like us, I whispered, the word slipping out unbidden. The attic air thickened, charged with unspoken truths. He sank to the floor, head in hands. I didn't know. God, John, I buried it all because I felt it too. That pull toward guys in college. But I couldn't. Not with Dad watching. Not with the firm expecting the straight-A son. The confession poured out then, his affairs, hidden in boardrooms and back alleys. The self-loathing that turned to scorn when he saw me embrace what he fled. I mocked you because I hated myself. And now, this house. Is my last shot at normalcy. At pretending. Tears mixed with the dust on my cheeks. Normalcy built on lies? We're brothers. Matt. Blood doesn't mean betrayal. Downstairs, Alex waited, snow melting in his hair, his script clutched like a talisman. The climax crested that night. Not in violence, but vulnerability. Matthew confessed to the developer, tanked the deal, his career crumbling like the brownstone's eaves. Fix it yourself, he told them, voice steel for the first time without sarcasm. We didn't sell. Instead, we renovated together, me with hammer and heart, him with plans and penance. Alex moved in, his script selling to a small indie house, our love the quiet anchor. Matthew stayed, not as golden boy, but as the brother reclaiming his shadows. One spring dawn, as cherry blossoms dusted the backyard, he hugged me fierce. I'm proud of you, John. Of us. The house stood taller, scars visible but mended, a testament to fractures that heal not by erasure, but embrace. In America, where dreams die hard and love fights dirtier, we found our humanistic truth. Family isn't blood. It's the choice to bleed together. Months blurred into the relentless rhythm of New York survival, but the attic brawl lingered like a bruise, tender, discolored, a map of where we'd cracked and begun to mend. Matthew threw himself into the repairs with a fervor that bordered on atonement, his manicured hands blistered from swinging a sledgehammer at rotted beams. See this? He'd grunt, sweat beading on his forehead as he pried up warped floorboards in the parlor. Dad always said the foundation's everything. Guess he meant more than mortar. I'd nod, passing him tools from the cluttered toolbox we'd scavenged from the garage, the air thick with sawdust and the faint, acrid tang of old varnish. Alex hovered on the periphery, his writer's eye cataloging the chaos for some future scene. Brothers rebuilding, not just a house but the invisible walls between them. It's got bones, he'd say, that Brooklyn lilt turning poetry from potential disaster. Real grit. Like you too, grit. That's what the city demanded, what it rewarded if you didn't fold. I'd wake at dawn to the coo of pigeons on the fire escape, slip out to jog along the reservoir, lungs burning as the skyline pierced the mist. Alex would join me sometimes, our breaths sinking in the chill, hands brushing in that casual intimacy that still sent sparks up my spine. "You're glowing. You know that?" he'd murmur, stealing a kiss under the shadow of the Met, tourists oblivious to our private rebellion. But glows flicker. Matthew's confession had cracked him open, but fractures run deep, and his normalcy was a siren call he couldn't fully silence. Late nights, I'd find him in the study, nursing a tumbler of Dad's bourbon, scrolling Grindr on his phone with a haunted look. Just browsing, he'd lie when caught, but his eyes, those sharp, appraising eyes, betrayed the war. Desire versus denial, the pull of the closet he'd half-stepped out of only to slam the door. One evening, as March thawed into tentative green, the conflict reignited. I came home from a shift at the Rusty Anchor, tips fat from St. Patty's stragglers, to find the kitchen island strewn with papers. Lease agreements, not for the brownstone, but for a loft in Chelsea. "What's this?" I asked, heart sinking as Matthew avoided my gaze, fiddling with the espresso machine. "Backup plan," he said, voice clipped. "In case the Renaissance tank the value. Or if I need space." He glanced up, jaw tight. "Look, John, this soul-searching shit, it's exhausting. I love you, man, more than I thought possible, but I'm not built for your world. The openness, the parades." He waved a hand, as if pride was a contagion. Alex, wiping flour from his hands after attempting Mom's meatloaf recipe, stepped in. "Our world is just life, Matthew. Hiding doesn't make it less real." His tone was even, but I saw the steel beneath, the protective flare in his eyes that made me love him fiercer. Matthew's laugh was sharp, defensive. "Easy for you to say, script boy. You're not the one with partners expecting a wife and 2.4 kids. My firm's breathing down my neck. When's the wedding? Maddie?" he air-quoted, mimicking their bro-ish drawl, but pain laced the edges. "I came back to fix this, to fix us. But every day here, seeing you too, it's like staring at what I could have been. And hating it." The room went still, the hum of the fridge a mocking underscore. I reached for him, brother to brother, but he flinched. "Don't. Just give me time." He grabbed the leases and bolted upstairs, the door click echoing like a gavel. That night, tangled in sheets with Alex, the betrayal stung anew, not fresh mockery, but the slow poison of rejection. "He's scared," Alex whispered, his fingers tracing lazy circles on my chest. "Of himself more than you." "I know," my voice muffled against his shoulder. "But knowing doesn't make it hurt less." We made love slow, deliberate, reclaiming the space Matthew's words had tainted, bodies a language of forgiveness, of staying when flight beckoned. The high tide of our fragile peace crested in April, with the cherry blossoms unfurling like hesitant flags of truce. We'd planned a barbecue in the backyard, a nod to Mom's spring rituals, grill smoke mingling with hyacinths she'd planted decades ago. Alex invited his theater friends, a drag queen named Ruby with sequins that caught the sun like disco balls, a non-binary director sketching set designs on napkins, a cluster of queer artists who turned our postage stamp lawn into a salon of laughter and limoncello. Matthew showed up late, tie loosened, carrying a case of microbrew like an olive branch. "Figured I'd play straight," he quipped, wincing at his own pun, and for a moment, the ice thawed. He grilled burgers with surprising flair, trading barbs with Ruby about Broadway flops, his laugh genuine, unguarded. "You know, John," he said later, as dusk painted the sky indigo, "this is not so bad. The chaos, the color, makes the suits back home feel gray." I clapped his shoulder, hope flickering. "Stick around. We could use a lawyer who knows his way around a spatula." But hope's a fragile bloom. As the party wound down, fireflies winking like errant stars, Matthew's phone buzzed, a video call from the coast, his firm's annual gala feed. Suits and gowns, champagne flutes clinking, a blonde partner cooing into the camera. "Maddie, when are you sealing the deal with Vanessa? She's pining." His face shuddered, the warmth draining like bathwater. He excused himself, retreating to the garden shed, Dad's old workshop, now a junkyard of half-finished projects. I followed, the screen door creaking protest. Inside, amid cobwebs and rusted tools, he paced, phone clutched like a grenade. "It's nothing," he snapped when I entered. "Just work." Vanessa, pressed, gentle but firm. "The one from the holiday cards? Matt, if you're..." "I'm not." The denial exploded. Phone hurled against a shelf, shattering a jar of nails that scattered like buckshot. "God, John, why can't you let it go? I'm trying, fuck. I'm here, aren't I? Sweating through this Reno hell for you. But you and Alex, parading your perfect queer fairy tale. It makes me want to puke. Or run. Or both." The words landed like shrapnel, reopening the attic wound. "Parading? We're living, Matt. Not performing for your discomfort." My voice rose, fists balling. "And you're the one faking it till you break it. That app on your phone, the late nights, you're drowning in denial and taking us down with you." He lunged then, not at me, but past, grabbing a forgotten hammer, swinging it at a stack of lumber in blind rage. Wood splintered, dust motes dancing in the lantern light like angry spirits. "You think it's easy? Coming back to this, to you, out and proud, while I'm choking on lies. Dad would have disowned us both. Dad's dead," I shouted, grabbing his arm mid-swing. We grappled, breaths ragged, the hammer clattering free. His eyes met mine, wild, wet, a mirror of my own fury and fear. "And we're not him. We don't have to be." He collapsed against the wall, sobs racking his frame, the golden boy crumbling into the brother I'd mourned. I slid down beside him, arm around shoulders that shook like fault lines. "I love you, Matt. Gay, straight, whatever the hell we are. Just don't run." Outside, Alex watched from the porch, his silhouette a steady flame against the night. He didn't intrude, just waited, knowing some storms brothers weather alone. The next day brought the deluge, not rain, but revelation. Matthew emerged hollow-eyed but resolute, tossing the leases in the trash. "No backups," he declared over breakfast, pancakes steaming like peace offerings. "I'm in. All the way." He even joined us for a showing of Alex's script reading at a Soho theater, sitting stiff through the queer monologues, but clapping loudest at the end, whispering to me, "That lead? He's got your fire." Our romance deepened in those reclaimed spaces. Alex and I stealing kisses in the half-painted hallway, his hands flour-dusted from baking trials, my laughter echoing freer. Matthew's presence wove in tentative threads, movie nights with craft beers, debates over vinyl records in the parlor, him admitting over whiskey one night, "That guy from college? His name was Theo." Felt like flying, then crashing. Vulnerability bred closeness. But the undercurrent swirled. His firm's ultimatums, veiled threats of cultural fit. When a promotion dangled partner track, contingent on stability, the pull intensified. One dinner, he begged me one rainy afternoon, as thunder grumbled like indigestion. With Vanessa. Fake it for the photo op. Then I'm out. I wanted to scream no, but saw the desperation, the man teetering on the ledge of self-betrayal. Fine. But no more. Choose us, or lose us. The dinner was a farce. Upscale bistro in Midtown. Candlelight gilding Vanessa's Botox smile. Matthew's hand limp in hers for the obligatory pics. Alex and I waited at home, tension coiling like smoke. He arrived alone at midnight, tie strangled, eyes stormy. "It's done," he said, collapsing onto the couch. Told her it's off. Told the firm too, respectfully. Of course. A bitter chuckle. They'll review it. But fuck 'em. Relief flooded, but so did the backlash. Calls came, partners feigning concern. Then the whispers, unprofessional. Unstable. A week later, the axe fell. Demotion. Relocation offer to reassess priorities. Matthew stared at the email, then laughed. A real, ragged sound. Free fall. Guess I'm jumping. In the chaos, our triad solidified. Alex pitched a new script. Brothers in a queer reckoning. Inspired by us. Humanity in the mess, he called it, typing furiously as Matthew sketched legal loopholes to protect the brownstone from vulture buyers. I mediated, heart full, as conflicts flared and fizzled. Matthew's first awkward date with a barista from the corner cafe. My jealousy flaring irrationally. Alex's steady hand pulling us back. Summer scorched in. The city a steam bath of possibility. We threw a housewarming not for sale, but survival. Rooftop party under string lights. Queer icons and straight allies mingling. Matthew toasting with uncharacteristic eloquence. To broken bonds, he said. Glass raised. Eyes on me. And the glue that holds. But glue tests under pressure. The true climax brewed in August heat, when the developer, slimy as ever, returned with a vengeance. Not content with rejection, they unearthed dirt, forged docs implying Matthew's influence on the will, anonymous tips to tabloids about family scandal, inherited drama with a gay twist. Headlines loomed, heiress-heirs feud, brotherly betrayal in Manhattan Manse? The call came during a rare quiet dinner, pasta al fresco, laughter bubbling like the Chianti. Matthew's phone lit up, the developer's number a venomous snake. He answered on speaker, voice ice. What now? Harlan, we said no. Harlan's drawl slithered through. No's negotiable, son. Got leverage, your brother's lover. That writer? Turns out he's got skeletons. Plagiarism whispers from his last flop. And you? That date with Vanessa? Photos say otherwise. Sell? Or we air it all. Front page. Rainbow flag and all. The table went deathly still. Alex's fork clattered. Face ashen. Plagiarism? That's bullshit. I cleared rights years ago. Matthew's eyes blazed. You touch my family, Harlan, and I'll bury you in lawsuits till you're choking on subpoenas. But the threat landed. poison seeping. That night, paranoia gripped, Alex pacing, convinced his career was collateral, Matthew raging in the study, drafting countersuits. Me, the fulcrum, torn between shielding them and shattering under the weight. The storm broke at dawn, rain lashing like Judgment Day. I found Alex in the attic, ironic, that space of confessions, staring at Mom's letters, his script pages scattered like fallen leaves. If I go down, John, it drags you both. Don't, I pleaded, pulling him close. We're in this. Together, Matthew burst in then, soaked from a pre-dawn run, face thunderous. Harlan's bluffing. I called in Favor's old Yale buds in media. The plagiarism is a ghost story, debunked ages ago. And the photos, doctored. We're countersuing for defamation. 50 mil. Easy. Relief ward with rage. You knew? And didn't tell us? Strategy, he shot back. Panic's their weapon. We hit first. The argument escalated. Voices rising over the downpour. Accusations flying. My naivety. Alex's vulnerability. Matthew's machismo. Fists clenched. But no swings this time. Instead, collapse. We sank amid the letters. A huddle of hurt men. Rain symphony to our sobs. I can't lose you, Matthew choked. Not again. You won't, Alex vowed. Hand in mine. The other reaching for Matthew's, a bridge across the chasm. The lawsuit launched like a missile. Headlines shifting. Brownstone Brothers battle developer bully, queer kin claim conspiracy. Support poured in queer orgs, indie filmmakers, even a viral X thread from Ruby that trended blood over bucks. Matthew's date blossomed into something real. The barista's easy grin thawing his frost. Alex's script greenlit for a festival. Our love the beating heart. By fall's golden cusp, the developer folded settlement fat. Brownstone ours. We stood on the stoop that equinox eve. Leaves swirling like confetti. Arms linked. Brothers. Lovers. Survivors. Humanity's in the fight, Alex murmured, kissing my temple. Matthew nodded. Eyes clear. And the win? It's us. Autumn in Manhattan wrapped the brownstone in a cloak of amber and rust. The air crisp with the promise of change, or at least, that's the romantic gloss I'd slap on it in quieter moments. The lawsuit's dust settled like the first frost, leaving us scarred but standing. The payout funneled into solar panels and a garden that bloomed defiant against concrete. Matthew's barista, Ethan, with his tattooed forearms and penchant for bad puns, became a fixture, his laughter a counterpoint to the creak of settling beams. You two built this? He'd marvel, surveying the fresh paint, the exposed brick we'd unearthed like buried treasure. It's got soul. Like a queer speakeasy from the 20s, Alex would grin, sketching him into marginalia of his notebook. Soul's the secret ingredient. Along with John's cooking and Matthew's swearing at plumbing. But souls, like houses, harbor drafts, chinks where old winds whistle through. The victory masked undercurrents. Matthew's firm hadn't forgotten. Reassignment emails pinged like passive-aggressive grenades. Relocation to DC veiled as growth opportunity. He brushed them off with Ethan at his side. But I saw the flicker, the man who'd chosen authenticity now questioning if the cost was too steep. Our romance, Alex and mine, deepened into domestic poetry. Mornings with coffee steam curling like lovers' breaths. Evenings on the fire escape watching the city pulse. He landed a fellowship at Tisch, teaching screenwriting to wide-eyed undergrads. His lectures laced with our story. Conflict isn't the enemy, it's the forge. We'd celebrate with rooftop picnics, wine and whispers, his head on my lap as stars pricked the smog. "This is it, John," he'd say, fingers interlaced. "The plot we write ourselves, yet plots twist." November brought Thanksgiving, that American ritual of forced gratitude amid turkey and tension. We hosted, tables groaning under sides pilfered from the rusty Anchor's menu. Invite list a mosaic, Ruby in full regalia, Ethan's theater troupe, even a tentative call to distant cousins who'd ghosted post-funeral. Matthew arrived last, arms laden with pies from a Soho bakery, Ethan trailing with a shy smile. "Peace offering," he announced, plunking them down. "Pumpkin for the straights, at least, the ones pretending." Laughter rippled, but undercurrents swirled. As plates passed, stories flowed. Ruby's latest roast battle, Ethan's off-Broadway audition gone gloriously wrong. Then, the pivot cousin Lila, tipsy on Merlot, leaning in with that faux-concerned smile. So, Matthew, still climbing the ladder, heard law's cutthroat. "Any special someone?" The table hushed, forks pausing mid-air. Matthew's jaw ticked, Ethan's hand finding his under the cloth, a silent anchor. "Yeah," he said, voice steady but edged. "Someone. Actually, a few someones." He glanced at me, then Alex, the admission a bridge. "Family, mostly. The kind that sticks when the suits don't." Lila blinked, then cooed awkwardly. "Oh, how progressive." But the damage was done. Texts buzzed post-dinner. Family group chat erupting. "What's this mean? Is he?" Matthew silenced his phone, but the pall lingered, a fog that followed us to cleanup. Later, washing dishes in the steamy kitchen, Ethan cornered me. "He's terrified, you know." The firm called today, discreet inquiry about his personal life, leverage for the boot. His eyes, soft brown and searching, held a plea. "Don't let him run, John. He's just found his footing." I dried a plate, knuckles white. "I'm trying." But he's got one foot out the door. The door in question swung wide that weekend. A networking brunch in the village, old colleagues, power mimosas, the siren song of stability. Matthew dressed sharp, cologne sharp, Ethan waving him off with a kiss that lingered too long for comfort. He returned Sunday night, disheveled, eyes glassy. "Drinks ran late," he muttered, avoiding the living room where Alex and I binge-watched indie flicks. But lies sent the air. Monday, I found the receipt in his coat. Hotel tab. 2 nights. Charged to the firm card. Heart pounding, I confronted him in the garage, amid cans of paint thinner and regret. "Brunch? Or breakdown?" He deflated, leaning against the workbench. "Both." Vanessa was there, cornered me. All let's try again for appearances. The partners egging it on. I stayed. Nothing happened, John. Swear. Just talked. But it felt safe. Normal. Safe. The word tasted like ash. Normal's the cage you broke out of. Ethan's waiting upstairs, heart on his sleeve, and you're playing house with ghosts. His face crumpled, the lawyer's mask slipping. What if I can't do this? The stares, the whispers, it's everywhere. Even here, with you also. I feel like the freak in my own family. You're not. Alex interjected, peering in the doorway, script in hand like a shield. We're all freaks. That's the point. Loving the mess. Matthew's laugh was hollow. Easy for you. Your world's built for this. Mine's a minefield. The argument spilled into the street. Voices rising over honking taxis. Neighbors peeking from windows. Then defuse it, I yelled. Or blow us all up chasing shadows. He stormed off, Ethan trailing, the brownstone echoing empty. Days blurred, radio silence. My shifts at the bar a numb haze of poured shots and small talk. Alex held me through the nights, his touch a tether. He'll come back, he promised, but doubt gnawed. The betrayal crested mid-December, snow blanketing the city in hush. Package arrived, no sender, just a manila envelope shoved through the slot. Inside photos. Grainy, damning, Matthew and Vanessa, entangled in that hotel room. Timestamps mocking his nothing happened. A note, firm's eyes everywhere. Resign quietly, or these go viral. With love, your progressive kin Lila. Rage boiled, but grief tempered it. I called him, voicemail after voicemail, come home. We fix this. Together. Ethan texted, he's spiraling. Blames himself. Please. The confrontation came Christmas Eve. The brownstone aglow with twinkling lights we'd strung despite the ache. Defiance in tinsel. He showed at dusk. Coat dusted white. Eyes hollowed by shadows. Ethan hovered behind. Tentative. John. I fucked up. No shit. I pulled him inside. The door shutting out the flurries. Alex poured eggnog laced heavy. The four of us clustering in the parlor like survivors of a shipwreck. The photos spilled onto the coffee table, stark black and white against the holiday cheer. Matthew's confession tumbled out. The brunch trap, Vanessa's seduction play, firm orchestrated to rehabilitate him. They knew about Ethan. Used her as bait. I resisted, but the kiss, for show. Then more. Whiskey talking, self-sabotage screaming, tears carved tracks down his cheeks. I thought if I played straight one night, it'd erase the rest. But it just amplified it. Ethan's hand trembled on his knee. Why not tell me? Fear, Matthew whispered. Of losing you. Of being the villain again. You're not, I said, voice thick. Villains don't confess. They run. I glanced at Alex. His nod the quiet strength that grounded us. But this? Lila. The firm, it's a machine. Matt. Grinding us down. We fight back. Or it wins. The night unspooled into raw honesty. Ethan forgiving with a fierceness that humbled. Alex outlining a media counterpunch. His Tish connections amplifying our story as a queer labor rights saga. Matthew. Purged. Vowed. No more half measures. I resign tomorrow. Start my own practice pro bono for folks like us. Hiding in plain sight. Dawn broke with carols from street vendors. The four of us toasting amid wrapping paper and resolve. But romance's flame tested true in the quiet aftermath. Alex and I slipped away to the rooftop, snowflakes melting on skin, his lips warm against the cold. Proud of you, he murmured. Holding space for his chaos without losing yours. Couldn't without you. Our kiss deepened. Bodies pressing close. The city a distant hum. Below, laughter echoed. Matthew and Ethan decorating the tree. Ornaments clinking like chimes of change. January's bite brought the backlash. Resignation accepted with icy emails. Lila's disownment via certified letter. Family values first. But from ashes rose Phoenix. Matthew's firm launch. Equity Legal. Flooded with queer clients. Ethan's role in a review. Spotlit and unapologetic. Our brownstone became Hub, a salon of strategy sessions and support groups, walls echoing with stories that mirrored ours. Yet conflict simmered. A client case, brutal custody battle, homophobic ex-wielding, moral unfitness, mirrored Matthew's fractures, triggering nights of doubt. "What if I'm poison?" he'd mutter to Ethan, who countered with touches that spoke louder. For Alex and me, the romance wove humanistic threads. A weekend in the Catskills, cabin fire crackling, his script adaptation premiering off-Broadway, our love story, thinly veiled, earning standing O's. To us, we'd whisper post-curtain, champagne bubbling like joy. The season's turn heralded the apex. Spring equinox, a year since the attic truce. The developer suit's final hearing loomed, but we'd won hearts if not headlines. That eve, under full moon, we gathered, expanded circle now, allies woven tight. Matthew raised a glass. To betrayals that birthed truth. As petals fell, I pulled Alex aside. Ring box heavy in pocket, not proposal, but promise. "Forever?" I asked, knee bent in the garden glow. "Twist ending," he laughed. Yes, in his eyes. But the best kind. Spring's thaw in New York is a tease, warm sun 1 hour, sleet the next, mirroring the erratic pulse of healing hearts. The brownstone thrummed with new life. Equity Legal's office commandeered the garden level. Clients filing in with tales of discrimination and divorce. Matthew at the helm. Sleeves rolled. Empathy his new gavel. Ethan thrived in the spotlight. His review morphing into a full production. Shadows and spotlights. A queer cabaret that packed houses and punched up. His solos raw anthems of self-forged identity. Alex's premiere had catapulted us into microfame. Festival buzz. Interviews where he'd credit the muses at home. His hand always finding mine under the table. Our romance felt cinematic now. Strolls through Washington Square. Falafel from street carts. Nights where lovemaking blurred into dreams of permanence. "Let's make it official," he'd murmur post-climax, tracing my collarbone. "Not for the city, but for us." Vows in the backyard. Under Mom's wildflowers. I'd nod, throat tight with yes, but the word waited, pent up like the season's storms. Family's orbit pulled. Matthew's milestones. First big win. A trans teen's custody secured. Demanded celebration. Our lives entwining tighter. Conflicts subtle but seismic. The underbelly stirred in May, when Lila resurfaced, not with apology, but ambush. A letter, perfumed and pointed, family summit. Neutral ground. For the estate's sake. Attached, probate docs, contesting clauses, alleging undue influence by me, the gay son, the disruptor. She'd lawyered up, her firm's tentacles reaching to undermine Matthew's fledgling practice. He read it at breakfast, cereal spoon clattering. "Bitch," he muttered, but hurt laced the curse. Ethan squeezed his thigh. "Steady. Confront or ignore?" "Confront," Alex advised. Ever the plotter. "Turn it into scene, expose the rot." The summit convened in a midtown cafe. All chrome and chill. Lila arriving in pearls and power suit. Flanked by a shark attorney. "John." "Matthew." She cooed, air-kissing cheeks. Tragic, this rift. But the will irregularities. Your lifestyle influenced the drafter. Perhaps. Matthew's laugh was steel. Lifestyle? You mean love? Save the dog whistle. Lila. Dad wrote it sober. Post-stroke. Naming John executor because I was AWOL in Cali. Chasing commas. Her smile tightened. Proof? Or we litigate. Sell the brownstone. Split fair, traditional values intact. The betrayal stung fresh, bloodkin weaponizing prejudice for profit. I leaned in, voice low. Traditional? Like your leaks to the tabs? Or Harlan's photos? We're done playing. She blanched, then rallied, bluffing. Family first. No, Matthew said, sliding a folder across affidavits, timestamps debunking her claims. Truth first. Drop it, or we countersue for harassment. Publicly, she left in a huff, heels clicking defeat, but the encounter lingered like exhaust. That night, Matthew crashed on our couch, Ethan away at rehearsal. She was like a sister once, he confessed over late-night tacos, wrappers crinkling. Now, just another suit scared of the rainbow. Alex joined, passing beers. Scared people weaponize. But we're the story now. Unbreakable bent, though. June's heat wave amplified fissures. Matthew's practice boomed, but burnout loomed, endless evictions, hate crime appeals wearing him thin. Ethan shone on stage, but jealousy nipped, fans' adulation stirring Matthew's insecurities. He's got options, he'd grumble after shows, nursing a scotch while Ethan mingled post-curtain. I'd mediate, brotherly instincts honed. Talk to him, not the bottle, but my own doubts crept. Alex's rising star pulling him to LA pitches, whispers of adaptation deals. Just scouting, he'd assure, but the suitcase by the door mocked. The romance's deep waters churned during Pride, that electric fortnight when the city pulsed queer and unashamed. We marched, brownstone contingent in matching tees, blood and bonds, emblazoned bold. Matthew, arm in arm with Ethan, rainbow flag draped like a cape. Alex and I hand in hand, his laughter lost in the roar. Confetti rained, drums thundered, but amid the joy, a pickpocket lifted Matthew's wallet, ID, cards, a photo of us four from Thanksgiving. Petty theft, but symbolic, stolen pieces of self. He spiraled post-parade, vanishing into a bar crawl that ended at 3 a.m. Ethan calling me frantic. He's gone dark. Text slurred. Can't keep up. We found him at the Rusty Anchor, slumped over the bar. My boss eyeing me sympathetically. Your brother's cut off, John. Send him home. I slid beside him, arm heavy on his shoulder. Come on, Maddie. Parade's over, but the fight's not. His head lolled, eyes bleary. Fight? I'm the weak link. Ethan deserves spotlights, not my baggage. You and Alex, perfect. Me? I'm the straight-washing sequel nobody asked for. Your family, I countered, signaling Alex for the tab. Baggage and all. Ethan's waiting, we're waiting. The ride home was silent cab ride confessional. His fears of fading into irrelevance. The firm's blackballing whispers reaching clients. What if I drag you down? The brownstone, the suits, it's all teetering because of me. Alex, from the jump seat, leaned forward. Teeter? Nah. We're tangoing, steps messy, but magic. his hand on Matthew's knee, platonic but profound. Lean in, not out. Ethan greeted at the door. Embrace fierce. No recriminations, just presence. They talked till dawn. Doors ajar. Vulnerabilities murmur a lullaby. July's swelter baked secrets to the surface. Alex's LA trip materialized. A week of meetings, his excitement tempered by goodbye kisses that lingered. Video every night, he promised. Suitcase zipped. The brownstone felt cavernous without him, echoes amplifying Matthew's brooding over a botched case. A queer couple's adoption denied on instability grounds. Systems rigged, he raged in the kitchen, papers strewn. I fought dirty precedents, psych evals, but the judge? Homophobe in robes. Fight dirtier, I urged, but fatigue etched us both. Nights alone. I scrolled his texts, flirty banter with producers, hearts emoji that twisted my gut. Missing you, I type, but doubt replied, is this sustainable? The call came midweek. Alex, voice crackling from LAX. Deals on series order, but they want me there. 6 months, maybe more, heart plummeted. And us wins. Commuter love, babe. We'll make it epic, epic stretch thin. He extended, just 2 more weeks, then 3. Matthew noticed, his own romance fraying, Ethan's tour offer, national, clashing with equity's demands. Go, Matthew insisted, but bitterness seeped. I'll hold the fort. Again, the parallel nod, brothers mirroring heartaches. Betrayals self-inflicted. August climaxed in a double blow. Ethan's acceptance speech at a gala, dedicating to the man who taught me courage, broadcast live. Matthew watching alone. Tears unshed till I found him on the roof. City sprawl mocking his isolation. He's soaring, he said, voice raw. I clipped my own wings. Clip mine too, I joked weakly. But the ache was mutual. Alex's latest delay. Networking dinner. Photos surfacing of him arm in arm with a co-writer. Innocent but incendiary. The eruption hit Labor Day weekend. Brownstone barbecue turned battlefield. Alex returned tanned and triumphant. Hugs tight but tentative. Ethan grilled. Stories flew. But undercurrents boiled. Matthew's curt nods. My forced smiles. It snapped over dessert, watermelon wedges dripping juice like blood. So, LA's the dream now. Matthew jabbed at Alex. Tone laced with projection. Leave the mess to us locals? Alex bristled. Mess? You mean the life we built? I'm chasing ours. Same as you with your cases. Chasing, Matthew sneered. Or fleeing, like I almost did with Vanessa's ghost. The table froze. Ethan rising. Not fair, Matt. We're all pulling, but momentum snowballed. I jumped in. Enough. This isn't about you two. It's us. Fraying because we let fear win. Alex's eyes met mine. Hurt flashing. Fear, John? Save it. I stood. Chair scraping. Go back to your dinners. Both of you. Fly while the rest rot rooted. The yard emptied. Accusations hanging heavy. Inside. Matthew cornered me. I started it. Sorry. But he's pulling away, saw the pics. So Ryu, I shot. Pushing Ethan to go. Then resenting the space. Confession ricocheted. His sabotage fears. My abandonment terror. We collapsed laughing. Then crying brothers again. Reconciliation brewed slow. Group therapy session. Queer-led. Unpacking the tangle. Alex recommitted, no LA without US. Co-writing remote. Ethan toured local. Matthew prioritizing presence. September's harvest moon witnessed mending. Backyard ceremony. Not wedding, but vow renewal. Alex and I exchanging rings under string lights. Matthew officiating with lawyer's gravitas turned tender. In the face of betrayal. You chose bond, he intoned. Humanity's not perfection, it's persistence. Ethan hooped, confetti tossing. As leaves turned, our love romantic, fraternal rooted deeper, conflicts compost for growth. Yet the arc crested higher. October's chill brought Lila's final gambit. Lawsuit filed. Probate challenge public. Headlines sneering Manhattan heirs queer quarrel. Fortune at stake? The courtroom drama unfolded. Fluorescence harsh. Judge stern. Lila's attorney paraded evidence. My lavish lifestyle, bar tabs as proof. Matthew's instability, resignation docs. We countered. Character witnesses, Ruby's fire, Ethan's poise, clients' testimonials to our integrity. Climax peaked in closing. Matthew at the podium, voice unbroken. Family isn't ledger lines, it's love, messy and mine. We betray, we heal. That's American as apple pie and civil rights. The gavel fell our way, case dismissed. Sanctions on Lila. Outside, paparazzi flashbulbs popped. But we walked arm-linked, unbreakable. November circled back. Anniversary of the crash. We visited the bridge. Wreaths tossed to the dark water. Toasts to ghosts. To Mom's secrets, Matthew said. And ours, out loud. Winter's grip on the city is unrelenting. A velvet vice that squeezes secrets from the soul like frost from breath. 1 year post-crash. The brownstone stood sentinel against the gales. Its windows fogged with the warmth of lives reclaimed. The probate victory had silenced Lila's echoes. Her retreat a footnote in tabloid filler. But victory's afterglow fades to the grind of grace. Daily choices to nurture what betrayal nearly severed. Matthew's practice flourished. Equity legal a beacon for the marginalized. Asylum cases for queer refugees. Workplace suits against rainbowphobic HR drones. He and Ethan settled into rhythm. Mornings tangled in sheets. Evenings debating set designs over takeout tie. You're my director, Matthew teased one night, tracing Ethan's jaw. Cue the happy ending, but endings draft in revisions. December brought a client crisis, a young man, outed by family, facing eviction from his childhood home. The parallels hit Matthew visceral. Parallels to our brownstone battle, to his own closet skirmishes. He took it pro bono. Nights blurring into dawn briefs. Ethan's patience fraying at the edges. You're saving the world, Ethan said over cold coffee. But who's saving you? I mediated again. The brotherly role now second nature. Boundaries, Matt. Love's not a solo act. He nodded, but the strain showed snap tempers. A forgotten anniversary dinner. Their first real fight erupted New Year's Eve. Brownstone party pulsing below. Bass thumping like a migraine. Ethan stormed upstairs mid-toast. Matthew trailing. You're married to the fight, Ethan yelled. Glitter from his outfit sparkling like shrapnel. And you're the escape artist, Matthew fired back. Touring when I need anchor. Doors slammed. Guests oblivious. Alex and I exchanged looks. Been there. In our commuter dark days. We gave space. But dawn found us four in the kitchen. pancakes as peace pipes. We're idiots, Ethan admitted. Syrup sticky hug. But idiots in love. Resolution. Couples retreat. Upstate cabin. No Wi-Fi. Just wood smoke and walks. They return softer. Tattoos matching now. Infinity loops. Inked in solidarity. Our romance, Alex and mine, evolved into elder statesman queer. His series greenlit for pilot. Filming in Astoria. Allowing home bases. We cohabitated fully. His scripts on the dresser. My bar polisher under sink. Intimacy deepened beyond flesh. Shared journals. Where I'd scribble barfly wisdom. He'd pen scene beats inspired by our spats. You're my inciting incident, he'd quip, pulling me to bed. But humanism demands shadows. February's Valentines brought a ghost. Theo, Matthew's college flame, emailing from Seattle, saw the headlines. Proud. Coffee, innocent outreach. But Ethan bristled, old insecurities flaring. Exes as friends? In theory, sure. But this feels like sequel bait. Matthew deferred. Heart-led. Meat neutral. Transparent. The cafe sit-down aired history, Theo out and partnered. No sparks. Just closure. You were my first brave, Theo said. Ethan, tagging along, exhaled relief. Brave's a team sport. Spring 2026 bloomed with collective highs. Equity's first anniversary gala. Black tie under the stars. Clients toasting Matthew as the fixer of fractured. Ethan's cabaret extended off-Broadway. Rave reviews calling it a queer rent for the reckoning era. Alex's pilot-wrapped principal. Premiere whispers buzzing. Yet the arc's true climax simmered domestic. A pregnancy scare. Not ours, but Ethan's cousins. A lesbian couple navigating IVF. Legal snarls Matthew untangled pro bono. The joy. Tiny kicks at ultrasound. Stirred yearnings. Ever think kids? Alex asked one night. Head on my chest. With you? Yeah. The admission unlocked floods. Adoption dreams. Brownstone nursery. Family expanded. But fears shadowed. My bar life. His travel. The world's cruelties. Conflict crested Memorial Day. Backyard cookout swollen with kin, new friends as family. Lila's absence a healed scar. Laughter flowed. But a call pierced. Client meltdown. Trans kid in crisis. Matthew pulled away mid-bite. Go, we urged. But Ethan followed. Frustration boiling en route. The blow-up waited till after. You're vanishing again. Ethan accused in the parlor. Voices carrying. I'm saving lives, Matthew roared. Saving yours first. Maybe, the barb landed. Doors slamming anew. Alex and I intervened. A intervention circle on the rug, raw, tear-streaked. Love's not ledger, I echoed Matthew's courtroom line. It's showing up, even when the fight calls. Apologies paved paths. Therapy tandem. Date nights enforced. June's solstice sun saw them renew. Vows casual. Rings exchanged in the garden. Wildflowers witnesses. Our turn came July 4th. Fireworks cracking overhead like fate's applause. Backyard. Under lanterns. Alex and I wed. Officiated by Matthew. Ethan best man. Vows simple. In betrayals past. I found you. In futures fraught. I'll choose us. Rings slid. Kisses sealed. Cheers erupted. But romance's humanism lies in the after. August's heat tested with Alex's pilot airdate. Nerves jangling. Reviews mixed. Flawed but fierce, critics said, mirroring us. He doubted. I bolstered role reversal, love's dance. September harvested bounty. Equity expanded. Satellite office in Brooklyn. Ethan's Tony Nod whisper. Our adoption inquiry filed. Fostering a teen boy, queer, guarded, echoing our youths. October's chill nipped at edges. The kid, Riley, arrived scared. Walls high. Conflicts flared. His rebellion clashing Matthew's rules. Ethan's patience. Our blended patience. He's me at 16, I confided to Alex. Midnight kitchen huddle. Then love him like we loved ourselves out of it. His kiss. Soft. Reaffirmed. Thanksgiving circled complete. Table fuller. Riley tentative carving turkey. Lila's empty chair now invitation. Come or don't, her latest card read. She came, thawing slow. Her own confessions over pie. Widowhood's loneliness. Regrets bite. No full mend, but olive branch extended. December's solstice closed the circle. Brownstone aglow. Carol's queer infused. Riley's laugh tentative but true. We gathered fireside. Stories swapped, betrayals to bonds. The year's ledger balanced in grace. Matthew raised glass. To the help who turned out to be the heart. Laughter rang. Mine deepest. Alex's hand in mine. Ethan's arm round Matthew. Riley nestled close. Family forged. Not flawless, but fierce. In America's vast, varied tapestry, where rain mocks and rainbows rally, we'd woven ours. Dramatic falls, emotional rises, romantic reels, humanistic holds. The brownstone endured, as did we, not despite the breaks, but because of them. Blood betrayed, but choice redeemed. And in that redemption, we found home. The end? Not just the hook for tomorrow's page.